You probably know there's one thing that is so important to be as an artist, and that's just being special. You can see so many artists out there, and every one of them is trying to be this or be that or display this side of themselves. And usually you can tell by anyone what they are, what they stand for, who they are as a person, and what's so special about them, right? So in today's episode, we are going to cover why you are special and look at this really in depth. Hello and welcome to the Artful Maestro Podcast. I'm your host, Nenad Leonart, and today it's all about being special, right? When we come into this world, we are small babies. Our parents, if we're lucky, think that we are special. Our family gives us this feeling that we are special. And somehow all throughout life, inside of our family, inside with our friends, with the people that we know, we have this kind of special place. And nobody really questions this. Okay, I'm talking about normal circumstances. Nobody's actually going out there and being, am I really so special? In some cases, people do that. But in most cases, it's just a completely understandable circumstance that everybody around us is special to us and we are special to them. Well, let's look at how this does not work in the professional realm, how you need to change your thinking about this, how you need to understand the process of what we humans think is special, and how you can actually use these mechanisms to become even more valued as an artist, as a musician, and to achieve more of your goals in your life. Before we dive into this episode, let me mention the main sponsor of this podcast, which is Artful Shop. That's a place where you can go and grab any gift for a musician that they will be delighted by. It is specifically tailored for having music merchandise there, which is not kind of worn out, but it's actually stylish stuff that people can associate with and they are very happy getting. So go check out Artful Shop, and you can even give in Artful5 as a discount code in the checkout, and you'll get an actual 5% discount on your whole order. All right, so let's dive into today's episode. Why are you special? I work as a church organist, and there's a lot of talk about, how God created people, how God thinks that everybody is special, how everybody is unique in the eyes of God. These are not necessarily my beliefs, so I'm just putting it out there. So we are going to go through different kinds of perspectives to just understand how our society looks at this topic of being special. Here's one perspective of God created everybody in a unique way, so everybody is like a totally different kind of person and they have value because they exist. This is also similar to the humanist idea that every single person has their own set of values, has their own set of talents and possibility of contribution that they come into this world, and that everybody is also equally valued. So that means that everybody is special in their own way. Now, being special, we also use for people, let's say, with special needs. So it kind of also gets a little bit of a different connotation. I would say it has a lot to do with, it's connected to value, it's connected to uniqueness, it's connected to being different, it's connected to, very many different things in this realm. And what I find particularly interesting is that every time something is called special, it gives it kind of an exclusivity, which takes it out of the context of a big together, or of from the context of a big society, of everybody being like one thing. And that's a little bit of a paradox. If you look at the God perspective, or if you look at the humanist perspective, you could go, but if everybody is made in the same way, how can everybody be special, right? Or if everybody is special, then no one is special. And that is actually much more going to be the reality that you are going to find in the professional realms, where, let's say, competition is really, really harsh. There's not much room for feelings. There's not much room for, mistakes, not feeling like it today. So you just go and show up tomorrow and maybe try then. Actually, the world is pretty harsh if you want to make it as a musician. I've read somewhere that like the only place that's even harder than having the competition as an artist is in the sports world. There, the competition is even harder, and people actually have measurements. So they're keeping track, they're keeping scores, and that's like another different level of competition over there. But also, if you look at music, if you look at all the arts field, it's kind of really, really hard, because there's a lot of people going around, and only a few of them are getting a lot of attention. Only few of them are actually having fan bases or having an agency behind them or whatever's going on. So by this premise, you could say that most of the artists out there aren't special, or they're just not special enough. They're not unique enough to have their own message, or maybe they are not differentiated enough from other artists so that people kind of remember them and go like, oh, yeah, that's this person. I remember they're standing for this. And so you'll see a lot of artists creating certain, even superficial things so people can remember them by. So it gets to be kind of special. I know in the organist world, there were people who used to wear like red shoes, and they made that to be like their brand. So I'm going out and doing red shoes, so people remember me by that. There are other people who are like, there's a very famous pianist who is famous for wearing very short dresses on stage. Or there are people, for example, like Glenn Gould, who was very famous for his extremely unique posture and approach to the instrument. So when you look at these things, the most memorable ones are kind of the most special ones. And if we want to understand what's really the psychology behind this, maybe we need to dial back a little bit and just look at how we actually grow up and what special means there for us, and how this actually translates into the professional world. I mentioned that before at the beginning of the episode, that we're kind of special for our family, special for our parents, or at least we should be, right? As a child, we're completely defenseless, and we're completely dependent on our parents. So usually we need all the attention and we need all the love that our parents have for us. So when we don't get what we want or what we need at that point, usually like a baby or a toddler would start screaming. So the parents know, oh, something's wrong. Let me go and fix that. Let's go and find out what's going on there. And oftentimes, children are competing, especially in the modern world, they are competing with everything that's going on. So they are competing with mobile phones. This is a big one in the moment. I see parents everywhere with their smartphones, just scrolling through stuff. So they're competing with these, all other types of screens. Then they are competing with obligations, with jobs, with hobbies, with friends and family, with other siblings, with other family members for the attention of their parents. And now you can imagine that if a kid is trying to get the attention of their parents, but it doesn't succeed. So let's say it tries several different strategies and it never gets the attention that it needs from their parents or the love. So what's going to happen there? They're either going to get depressed or they're even going to try more hardcore measures to get what they want. So you can actually see the reactions of children getting more and more extreme. And what I hear oftentimes when, I don't know, I hear like the older generation see a kid like that in the streets, they're like, oh, they are not brought up right, or oh, they are not being disciplined with their children, or oh, this kid is not well educated. You know, it's going to school, but there's no education rubbing off of them. Well, I would argue that none of these are true. It's actually that the kid is missing the love and attention from the parent because that's what it's after. So you can try to discipline your kid how much you want. If it's not getting that love and attention, it's going to start and just act out in many different manners. So here you can actually see that this acting out or trying to do something special, to do something unique, has to do with I need the attention of my parents, because ultimately the survival of the kid is dependent on that. They really need the connection with their parents, and like they're not self-reliant. They rely completely on them for food, for shelter, for warmth, for love. So it's do this or die, right? You can say, even a baby understands this. Like, I need to have this bond with my parents, otherwise I'm in a lot of trouble. And kids start doing that, and oftentimes these patterns keep on going because usually the parents don't necessarily change, and also the kids don't change. So you can see them growing up, trying to be special in many different ways. Some ways are, let's say, positive when kids start doing sports or arts or any kind of activity that brings good attention to them. So they're kind of getting the attention in a positive way, but it could also be acting out. It could be getting into trouble. It could be creating very uncomfortable situations or dangerous situations. So the parents actually start taking care of them or get in contact with them, even like if it's bad contact, like the kids would usually find these strategies that they feel work best for them. And that is kind of an issue. That is a real issue because this is on a very deep emotional level and it's not really being controlled. Now, fast forward into the professional world, we have all these people around the world who are interested in culture, in arts, and they just actually enjoy this. They want to discover new stories, new emotions. They want to feel good. They want to be touched by art. They want to be inspired, motivated. And then you have also the artists who are all struggling to be special. And most of them fail because they don't understand the mechanism that started so long ago. And by the way, this is basically happening with all of us, not just with artists, that we kind of need to be special for our parents, for them to see us, because we all had to fight for attention. And they don't know that they have to fight for attention, and they kind of remain stuck in this baby, toddler, kid, kind of childish way of emotional thinking because they don't know better. And they are still using the same mechanisms that they tried to use on their parents, but they use those mechanisms with the world. And so, I don't know what's been your experience. I've had so many people that I worked with, also more than enough clients in my coaching that would describe certain situations where I could tell right away, you are still stuck in this toddler mentality. Like, you don't understand that there's something else running you, and you feel that your reaction to what happened was justified, and you wanted to bring out like the special part of you so people would pay attention, but it actually kind of backfired. It either wasn't the good intention or the good attention, or it was attention in a way where people felt like it's off or it's cringe, and they would just like put it out of their mind, just tune it out and not pay attention to it. And that's the opposite of what people want. So the first step in actually getting towards why are you special is to understand there is a very, very childish part in you that still wants to be special for your parents. And it's time to embrace that part, to see what's up, but also to let go of that mentality. It is time to just say, okay, you know what? I'm old enough. This has been something that maybe has been running my life for so and so long, but I don't need that. At this point where I am today, I do not need that. And this is not an easy thing to do, by the way. It's going to take probably years to allow this kind of maturity to seep in, because it's what we have been doing all our lives. So once this is done and we can say goodbye to trying to please mommy or daddy, then we can actually be free and ask ourselves, why am I truly being special? Not special for mommy or for daddy or for my family or trying to impress this person that I'm dating or whomever. It's actually about who am I and what are my strengths? Where am I unique? And how can I connect that to other people? You can see this is a very, very different level that only works once you have said goodbye to the first one, the first stage of being in the toddler mentality. And this second stage of being special, it has a lot to do with the world. So it has a lot to do with who are you doing this for? Who are you going to connect with? And let's say you have an audience or you have a fan base. What do these people want? That's a very central question. And that is also one of the central questions that I always do in my coaching programs. Now, I'm mentioning it here because it's just something that I think everybody has to be aware of. But when we are doing like a training in the Artful Maestro program, when I have clients working with me one-on-one, we really dive deep into this because it needs so much work. It's like a complete architecture that you need to build from the ground up. So the house that can stand firmly on that foundation. You really need a very, very good foundation to be able to build your career on it without it crashing down someday. And in this foundation, you have different principles, you have different ideas, and you also have different reflections, self-reflections. And this is one of the most important that you can do, like, who am I? And what do other people need that I am connecting to? Also here, important to understand, we don't connect to everybody in the same way, right? We don't connect to person A in the same way as person B. And we become friends with one type of people, and the other ones, we just remain acquaintances, or we never see each other. So for you, it's going to be interesting, who are you speaking to and who is speaking to you? Like your types of friends, or the type of people who actually come to your concerts, what they are interested in. And you want to go and find out what is really connecting to them. Like, what part of your personality is really touching them, is really of value to them. What is the thing that they say, oh, this person is unique in providing me this, and that is why I enjoy it. That is why I really like doing this with them. That's what you actually want to have. And the reason is that this is going to be the foundation of your career, why you are special. Because you want to be special in a way that people connect to you and that they remember you for that one thing or those several things that you are special to them. You can also obviously do like a very superficial thing where you, I don't know, cut your hair really short, or you could have a very pronounced tattoo somewhere where they know, oh, it's this guy. And that's going to be a fun thing to have, but it's also going to be on a superficial level. And let's say if you want to build like a long-term career and not just be shining star that fades in the distance, you actually want to build on values that are holding a long time and that are not as superficial, but that actually even create a story, so that you can go through this story having maybe one element and then deepening it even more and more. And that is how you find out if you're really special. Because looking at probably where you are right now, you aren't really special. You aren't really anything noteworthy for others, because otherwise they would have noticed you already, right? Something would have happened already, but it didn't. So the next step for you would be to find out what are your very special qualities, where are you unique, and how you can use that to leverage your career. If you want to do that, there's a great place to start growing with other musicians as well. I've created a community which is called the Artful Maestro Inner Circle. And this is a free community for classical musicians to join and to exchange their experience. All of us have different stories. All of us have different things happen to them, different lessons. And this is a great place where we can grow together. We get to exchange information. We get to ask questions. What do you think about this? What's your experience with that? And that is an awesome thing that we can do today to use the power of social media and of online groups, that we can further our careers much, much faster than it used to be back in the day. And by the way, that's the only way how we can grow, because everybody else is already doing it. You know that us classical musicians, we're kind of late to come to the party. Whenever there's a trend coming, it takes us months, sometimes years, or even decades to arrive at the same conclusion that this is kind of something really, really good. As an example, I used to not want to play with a tablet because I thought it's technology, it's unreliable, and so on and so on. And there were people already around playing with those in the late 2010s, and I just felt like, nah, this is not who I want to be. This is not reliable for me. Fast forward a couple years later, I actually started using tablets because of several reasons, and then I thought to myself, I am so stupid. I should have started doing this much earlier. First, I would have saved so much time and I would have already had a library. And second, it's much easier. And I didn't have to spend all this money on buying sheet music. I don't even have to do all that stuff now. I still prefer to read from sheet music, but it's just much more practical to read from a tablet. So I don't know. And people are catching on. And this is what I like about it. There are more and more people who are catching on to this trend, and I just love it. I really, really love it. And I hope that very soon everybody will have the chance to be free of choosing, do I want to play with sheet music or do I want to play with a tablet, because they have both options available. Right now, it's not that we have both options available. It's that we have either people who are fully into tablets or fully into sheet music, and very few of them are interchanging. So what I would hope for the world to happen is that we all arrive to a place where we have tried out everything and we know how stuff works, and then we get to have a free decision instead of having habits or dogmas or other people imposing their opinion on us. And that is where the community comes in. I really want to grow a classical music community all around the world where professionals and aspiring professionals are actually exchanging the best practices that they have in a growth mindset, in a sharing spirit, helping each other, creating connections for life. Because I don't know, like so many people ask me, how do you do networking? Well, like that, I'm actually providing you a group to network with people. Just go there, join, be nice, get to know people, and who knows what kind of projects are going to get out of this. We never know. The future is open, and I'm really looking forward to this if we are actually able to grow together. So that's for today's episode on why we're special or not, and what we can do to actually do this in a professional level. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you liked about it, what resonated with you, maybe what didn't. And then I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a good time.